How's it going, folks? We've got a bit of a short one here that I guess I'm going to double up with another replay, but I really wanted to check it out because it was from the recent Fufu tournament, and it's on a pretty weird map. It's a very interesting map, one that results in quite a lot of unique play, and certainly a map that I can understand why Deimos has gone for the mech boy on. Having a mobility on a map as big as this, Greentooth Jungle Redux, is very, very valuable. Not only just having a fast-moving guy, but someone who can teleport like this over these annoying jungle trees is very, very helpful. So this Orc and Space Marine matchup is really interesting because I actually was counter-picking Space Marines with Orcs, which I feel might surprise a lot of people, and I don't think that was the consensus prior to the tournament, but I'm very comfortable in the matchup. I think, to be honest, K-Nob is definitively the best. As for whether or not the War Boss or the Mech Boy are better, I think it really just comes down to map. On a map like this, I'd certainly rather be the Mech Boy. On a small map, let's say you're on Quest's Heresy or Drillow's Forge, then I'd want to be the War Boss. So I think both of them can do well, but I don't really remember what the outcome of this matchup was, and I want to see how it goes down. So as far as the builds are concerned so far, we've got nothing particularly unique, other than the fact that Piano is actually playing the Apo, which I don't think that's very typical. I don't like this fight for the tax here with the double shooters contributing. I know he's got the heal, but it really just requires the sluggers getting a few of these special attacks, and all of a sudden the tax is CC'd and potentially going to be bleeding some models. Yes, it depends on if the Apo can get some specials, which he did get, but can he bleed some models? He is bleeding models. That's really bad. He bled 2 tax right at the start. Not ideal for him. Alright, so that really sums up a lot of what went wrong here for Piano. I am looking at that and seeing 2 tax die instantly. I'm thinking that this match did not go very well for him. But it remains to be seen. Stormboy's coming out next, kind of a no-brainer. You just go battery pack, you're fighting Space Marines. Stormboys are amazing. I've discussed them many times before. If you don't have a reason to go for anything else, you go for Stormboys. Basically, the only reason you'd go for Painboy is if the enemy is spamming melee at you. Other than that, pretty much you want to be going for Stormboys. Maybe against IG, if they're spamming a lot of guardsmen and stuff, you'd go for a looter first. But IG are pretty unique. Stormboys flinging themselves into action. Those power melee choppers are going to be pretty devastating for the Tactical Space Marines. Do we have Purification Rights? No, we do not, because we were waiting to get the ASM, and once again special attack knocking over the tax, and now power melee choppers in retreat. Not gonna take attack model, but actually kills the Apo this time. Yikes. Yeah, that's pretty rough. A series of really bad engagements here. He should have been a lot more cautious with his tax there. Overcommitted them. Stuck in the fight for too long with the Apo. I don't really know why. And now he doesn't have the Apo, and he doesn't have the red either, because he's not killed enough Orc models yet. Trying to focus fire the Stormboys, gets one of them. And a big retreat there from the Orcs. I guess they just don't want to bleed. It obviously wouldn't have been very difficult for them to take out the power node here, but they just do not want the bleed. They want to secure the dominance that they've already got. Could have been a bit of a teleport before they landed there. That was sloppy. Take a little bit of damage on the mech boy, but not a huge deal. He's still in play, which is important, just preventing the Space Marines from easily capping. Trying to bleed. Attack. No, he's not. He's even shooting the ASAP. Okay. I mean, one of the beautiful things with the mech boy is you can hunt down the scouts so easily, teleporting after them and shooting them up. Here comes the battery pack.
Our greatest weapons are called for.
Pretty much fully heals a Stormboy, and it does heal every single model in the squad, so It's pretty huge. The thing is, if we look at the economy now, though, it's quite funny. They're actually quite even. I mean, obviously, you've got burners, you've got one big shooter, and you've got the battery pack, whereas Piano has got nothing yet. He does. He has Mastercrafted Bolter now, and he's also getting a Flamer. So he's just going to have to avoid the melee. Okay, he's sending a scout with shotguns up to support the duo over here, who are going to go for a bash. Deimos is kind of overcommitted here. He's getting completely debated. Yeah, now he realizes, oh shit, they're on my farm. But he's committed way too hard down here. But now, nothing sourced off the scouts. He's not going to be able to get to the gem farm in time. Yeah, Stone Boys can counter the ASM. So that's a good choice. They will win 1v1 quite handily. Certainly for cost. But, going to take out the full gen farm here. However, Piano's only just building his gens now. That's the downside of the ASM. You really do have a very late gen farm positioning. Okay, Epon needs to retreat. What's he doing? Why is he staying in so much? Does not want to lose them right now. Just get the tax out afterwards as well. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Really, to be honest, these should just retreat, because you need to protect your gen farm. If Piano loses his gen farm now, it will be devastating. He's actually got himself in a decent position, surprisingly, in spite of the rather terrible opening plays, losing so many tactical marines and losing his APO really unnecessarily. Slugger's isolated now, bleeding. Poor play from Deimos here. He completely whiffed the defense of his gen farm. He got baited out by the ASM and the scouts really badly. Jumping deep with the ASM onto the rear shooters, but to be honest, this is a bit concerning. The ASM don't have full HP. This is a lot of DPS, and he really, Piano, cannot afford to be bleeding ASM right now. He needs to get out. Did he even get a model? He didn't. I might have healed them with a battery pack, but whatever. Ooh, Stormboy's going deep here. Regrettably. So actually the economy looks pretty even. Because of all the bleed. I mean, Deimos is slightly ahead. He's also floating right now, but he hasn't replaced all his gens. So yeah, he should start tier 2 and then replace his final gen. He needs the melee in position to deal with these attacks. If only he had purification rights on the APO, then these attacks would be pretty much just totally able to 1v1 the sluggers. As long as they have a heal nearby. Should be huge. Of course, that could be countered by the battery pack heal from the mech. Then you need to get your shotgun scouts over. I love that there's no scout sarges. I think they've been a crutch for the Space Marines for a very long time in the meta. I think that basically they've been really overrated and not worth it. Yeah, so mech's just going to teleport in, force melee on the attacks, prevent them from bleeding the shooters while shooters can do their DPS. But wow, look at the VP lead, man. This is... Why does he commit so hard to staying in play all the time? I don't know. Where's the heal? There's the heal. But he needs to just get out of this fight. Oh my god, what is he doing? Scouts! Really bad engaged by the scouts there. They took forever to shotgun blast. Man. And I don't know what that ASM jump was. Should have jumped out, not in. Stompers are going to rip them to pieces. Oh god. How have they not lost a model? That is so lucky. Stompers mess up their jump. Should have jumped there. Would definitely have got another model. 4 or 5 of those boys got a swing in. Very, very lucky for Piano to get out of that fight without losing a model on those ASM. Not deserved, to be honest, and he's been capping up the side of the map the entire time. Deimos needs the mobility support, so he's going for a war truck. That'll protect his shooters from the ASM, and it will give him the mobility he needs to compete with that side capping scout, which is clearly causing him severe problems. Okay, Piano does this quite a lot. He's going for fast stern guard before getting a Razorback, which... yeah, it's an interesting choice. I guess he feels like he's behind in tech, even though he got the bash, which he is. And therefore the Razorback could be quite risky, because it could be met with truck busters. And if you're too far away from the base or another source of AV when you meet truck busters, your Razorback will get bust. So maybe he senses that, and that's why he's gone for the Stern Guard. He could get the Razorback afterwards, now that he's got a bit more AV on the field with the ability to swap to Vengeance rounds on these guys. However, still no Purification rights, so these guys are very vulnerable to melee. Do we have Storm Boys? No, we've just got the Sluggers. Now this is the first fight that the Stern Guard have encountered, and so where's the heal? Man, why does he not have rights? Yeah, Vengeance rounds, get it. Okay, they need to go. Stern Guard, hello. Fuck me, man. Is he gonna lose them? Oh, nice save with the ASM jump. The Mech Boy's hunting for it. 50% fire on the move, though. Are you kidding me? Oh, he gets them. He fucking gets them with his little pea shooter. Wow, that's a big loss, losing Stern Guard. Yeah, Stern Guard for a truck that didn't even have its armor, and now look at the Storm Boys absolutely ripping those ASM to pieces. I really do not understand why he didn't have Purification rights. Playing the APO without Purification rights just seems frankly just stupid.
The enemy is claiming a victory point.
You got the truck with a missile launcher, which is fine. But this squad's extremely weak now. Only 2 tack bolters worth of damage in tier 2 against these orcs with their knobs is, you know, it's practically nothing. So they got to get out of there. Razorback's going to be coming, but I mean, at least he killed the truck, right? Deimos has apparently been bleeding quite a bit to get the requisition for another truck, and no, he's got the shooter knobs, that's what he's done. I don't know why he's purchased the shooter knobs, because, well, it doesn't really make any sense, right? So the scouts will already lose to the shooters without the knob. So what do the knobs do? Because they're very expensive in sunk costs and in upkeep. But if you encounter the ASM with the shooters with a knob, you'll still lose. So what's the point? I'm a big advocate of the idea that if you're losing so many models on your shooters with no knob, just big shooters, if you're losing lots of models on your big shooters, and that's why you think I'm going to get the big shooter knob in order to bleed less, you're playing the game wrong. You shouldn't be losing that many models on your big shooters in the first place. But there is the beamy on the Mech Boy, which is always frightening. It's one of the reasons why Mech Boy's so damn strong. Oh god, he's not moving! He's not moving! Oh wow, he's gonna die. He loses it just to the beamy. Man. But a lot of damage coming onto the ASM. Wow. Not the ASM. Fucking hell. The Storm Boys by the ASM. This is a game of throws, guys. What the hell? This is like... This is not very high level. I mean, it was later on in the tournament. I guess these guys are thoroughly fatigued right now. They must be. This is incredible. Desperate attempts to cap there for some reason. There's still 60 VPs. Chill out, my guy. Throws away his scouts for really no reason there, Piano. The tacks are rushing the VP, I imagine. But yeah, killing the Storm Boys is huge. There's no tier 2 melee infantry that you can get. Well, you can get stick bombers, but they're not proper melee infantry, right? They're more of an artillery unit. So killing the Storm Boys is amazing, because getting these levels is a big part of how they scale. Deimos basically has to replace them. What's an alternative? He gets a vehicle. She's already countered by the missile launcher. Or he goes for a Weird Boy, which doesn't deal with the ASM. Look at that juicy damage from the Kraken rounds there on the Stern Guard. Big damage. Gets the decap. Nice swap to Hellfire. Oh, good swap. Yeah. Nice. Punishes that Mech Boy. And I think Deimos is going to lose on VPs, which is really quite incredible. These shooter knobs were a very, very, very bad decision. They've done nothing. There is nothing that those shooter knobs have achieved here that wouldn't have been achieved by just having big shooters. Oh wow, he finally got rights. Finally. Look at the difference, man. You get the rights and they're just soloing the orc melee squads. really impressive. Bang! What? Did that even do damage? I feel like that power sword should have done more damage, but there you go. Boom, another nice heal. Cooldown reduced by the Armor of Purity.
Apothecary has reached level 5.
Oh, Sternguard tried to hold their ground, but I guess they didn't have initial no fear. They mustn't have. Yeah, Deimos needed more units. He needed to get another vehicle up, most likely. Obviously, the loss of the Storm Boys was huge. He'll have another heal at this point, yeah. Nice special. I think that was a direct missile hit as well, which is funny. And the... Well, double jumps. There you go, Angels of Death. Very nice. With a Razorback in the background. And he got the cap anyway, he needed to stop the cap. Yeah. Pretty good composition as the game went on there from Piano. The comps were good, but the micro was rather lacking. Both players obviously making some serious micro errors in the game. I don't think there were any real major tactical errors, to be honest. I'm not sure how I feel about going for Sternguard first rather than the Razorback into Sternguard. I guess it worked out fine, and if he had Purification Rights, I think it would have worked out even better. Because he likely wouldn't have lost the Sternguard and still would have got the kill on the truck. He didn't have Melter Bombs either. So these are things to consider. Granted, he used the energy for a jump into a Merciless. You can't do that and do a Melter Bomb. Anywho, something to consider. Just remember that 2 Melter Bombs to rear armor will kill a War Truck outright without any other AV. So... Yeah, tell me what you think down below about this one. It was an interesting one. I'm surprised that Deimos was so far behind on VPs the whole time. Being the mech is meant to help out with that, but it felt like he didn't quite get enough done somehow against the scouts. Like, how were scouts running around unpunished when you have 3 units in your roster that can solo them? You know what I mean? Just split them up. Against Space Marines, I really think you should be splitting up your shooter boys. Unless they've invested heavily into the scouts, such that they've got shotguns and Sarge, and they've also got hero war gear. In that case, in an AVA, you probably are going to need both of them. But there you go, that's going to be all from your boy Torpid this time. I am signing out. Peace.